Good evening. Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is the idea that law should be enforced no matter what, as often as possible, whenever the symbols fit something. This is going to be similar to some other videos I've made, but I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle this time. It's a recurring subject for me because it's very important and contemporary. Actually, it's something going on that's affecting everybody in the United States, if not other countries like the United States. But anyway, there's this idea, attitude, and assumption that the law, in terms of behavior and criminal codes, should always be enforced every opportunity. Have you heard this? Does that sound familiar? I want to challenge that, first of all. I believe the spirit of the law is completely different. I believe that we're doing it completely wrong right now, and I can prove it, actually. I believe that there are times when things are technically against the rules, potentially, if there's a complaint, such as trespassing, which hinges on having permission, some kind of invitation or welcome to be on a property that may not belong to you. That's obviously not trespassing, and it hinges on consent. Consent is a pivot. It's the hinge, if you will, for trespassing. And it turns out actually that consent is the hinge for every law. If you think every criminal law, I should say, when you look at it, when you boil it down. So what does that mean? I want to dive into this just a little bit. So consider that many times people do things that could fit a legal symbol. Say I've used this example before, you're picking up trash off the side of the road, for example, and you pick up some empty alcohol containers, throw them in a bag, and drive them to the dump. Well, this is actually, if somebody wanted to bust you, it's technically illegal to have an empty alcohol container in your vehicle while you're driving, no matter what. Unless you agree with what I'm saying and the spirit and context determine whether or not you're doing something wrong or against the law. I would submit that every potential infraction, illegal activity, must have a harmful context. And if it doesn't, that law is being abused when it is invoked. You are potentially punishing good behavior and causing problems where there was none. This is why it's important. So there are some serious laws. I'm not saying, I'm actually kind of learning. It's an epiphany for me. I'm learning about this for the first time, having thought about it for many years. And it's making a lot of sense to me about how the law is very appropriate if it's used correctly, but we're not using it correctly in general. Law enforcement doesn't use it correctly. Our courts don't use it correctly. People don't understand it or think about it correctly. There really has to be a violation of contract or consent, some kind of measurable, demonstrable damage outside of an agreement, after which, not before which, but after which, the legal symbols and processes are invoked. This is super important. This is the only way justice can be served. Anything that does not conform to that definition is by definition not justice. It's something else. It's an abuse. It's a problem that's being created from nothing. And it would be a crime on the part of any prosecutors if you really boil it down. This is why we have avenues of appeal. This is why we have hopefully due process and courts that investigate. You've heard about investigation and substantiation, evidence. All this is designed to support the allegations that something was against the law, but there had to have been damage of some kind. There had to have been a breach of contract. So I'm going to keep making these videos. I feel like I'm getting better at saying it. It's a very difficult thing for people to understand. You might hear this and it makes sense, and then 5 minutes later you're back to thinking, oh, something's illegal. Well, wait a minute. No, it's not until there's a problem. And how do we get people into this mindset where they understand that there has to be a problem, or else you're creating one? this is important. Maybe you don't think it's important. Maybe creating problems out of thin air is not a big deal for you. It's affecting me. I see that as a problem. I see making problems, manufacturing problems when there was none, as being a problem. Anyway, reach out if you have comments or questions to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good night.